Yo, 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 I'm Jay Uso from WWE. And I'm Jimmy Uso. Jackpot, I just got all the gold coins on Chumba Casino. Yeet. No way, how'd you do that? I just logged on to Chumba Casino, used my daily bonus, and played one of the hundreds of exciting online social casino-style games. It's perfect for a quick break between training, preparing for our next tag match, and giving my boys a break between yeets. Sick, I'm gonna play my favorite, Stampede Fury. You know how it is, Os. Exactly, with Chumba Casino, it's Chumba time, anytime. 6 letters, 1 word, Chumba. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T's and C's. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Hey-o! Welcome to Heed the Call live. Day 4 of free agency coverage. There's a lot of, right off the bat, Dan Hanzus here, Marc Sessler, Conor Orr back with us, and we love it. There's a lot of conversation connected to the point, Conor, that because you as you always do, you anchor our coverage. So you were on the Monday show and the Thursday show now. And then on the Tuesday show, we had Arif. On the Wednesday show, we had Shield. So we hit for the cycle in the old Shrunko category of hairless men.
Oh,
well,
how
up top.
about that?
Yeah.
That's great. Sheil and Arif are two of my top balds, and they wear it well. I think they both preceded me in going bald, and so mentors in that category for sure. You know,
it seems as if a certain group of podcasters are trying to fetch my attention. Well, why don't you start here and fetch me an Arnold Palmer? Half iced tea, half lemonade, shaken and stirred.
We just lost all of our new viewers.
You have him come over in the middle of the night. He better be a big chrome dome.
Yes, free agency. You know, by the time you get to Thursday, it's mostly, I don't want to say dried up. That doesn't seem fair. But it is mostly, at this point, now you're picking up the pieces. There are a few notable names out there. We're going to get to them all. We're also going to share some under-the-radar signings that we liked. We're going to check in on the Ravens-Raiders drama because that's fun. And everything else you need to know in our league. But, you know, while we're here, it was 1 week ago today that we had Bill Barnwell on the show, and Bill and the three of us put together our team of free agents on the market at that time, and we named that team the Bavarian Pretzels, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
This does feel like a good time to check in on the Pretzels and see where things are at. Let's check in. All right, here we go. Can I get the Bavarian national anthem under this, Justin, if possible?
It's the least you could ask for.
I mean, we got to treat this with the respect it deserves.
I'm gonna get crushed for this, but Bavaria is a real country.
I believe it's more of a.
Or is it like Northern Ireland?
It's Germany,
Germanic,
adjacent,
and
perhaps.
Yes,
sound off in the comments.
Yeah, someone's gonna kill it. We're all gonna get destroyed here, but I believe it's Germanic territorial.
I mean, if you're country adjacent, like, you know, I can't say the word because it's a live stream, but like, go pound sand. You know what I mean?
Sure. And we did get in trouble for playing the German national anthem once because it had some questionable mid-20th century connections. So, again, we don't know what the these people are saying, so just get off our ass, okay?
Can I offer some commentary real quick? It is a free state in the southeast of Germany.
Okay, good. There you go. Anyway. Again, we have no idea what they're saying. We don't endorse what they're saying.
So it's like, is it more like Texas being part of the United States, or is it more like Northern Ireland being a part of Ireland? What do we think?
This sounds like an off-season podcast conversation.
Right. All right.
Yeah, that's
so
up
I'm
to
gonna
your
get out of the way.
imagination.
You know, something interesting about our team, the Bavarian Pretzels, the entire defense that we had cobbled together is off the market. Jalen Phillips to the Panthers, Sheldon Rankins to the Texans, John Franklin Myers to the Titans, Adafe Owe to the Commanders, Devin Lloyd to the Panthers, Caden Ellis to the Saints, Jalen Watson to the Rams, Reek Woolen to the Eagles, Alante Taylor Titans, Kobe Bryant Bears, Brian Cook Bengals. Now you look at the offensive side of the ball, Con Man, and there's still, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players unsigned, including Mark's charity case, Joel Bitonio.
Well, too versatile.
As of right now, Kyler Murray, who we'll get to in just a couple minutes, is unsigned. Our backup, Kirk Cousins, also unsigned. David Njoku, he's a good player. I hope somebody realizes that soon. Still unsigned. Rasheed Walker, left tackle, unsigned. That surprises me a little bit. Jawan Taylor, our other bookend on the line, unsigned. But who has contracts? Kenneth Gainwell, our RB1. Day one, he went to the Buccaneers. The Bavarian basher himself, Tyler Algier, went to the Cardinals. Mike Evans to the 49ers, Alec Pierce to the Colts, Romeo Doubs to the Pats, Elijah Vera Tucker to the Pats, Tyler Linderbaum to the Raiders, Isaac Samalo to the Cards. Your thoughts on this? Who's the next off the board, Conman?
Well, first, I want a hearty pat on the back for Mark and I for being in lockstep on Mike Evans being wide receiver 1. And I think he was a game changer in free agency for the 49ers, flew off the board there. And David Njoku unsigned, but you know who flew off the board on day one was my number 1 tight end for the Pretzels, Charlie Kohler. So I felt pretty good.
And not to go full Sessy here, though, but I'm going to take offense to it. I don't remember pushing back hard against the Mike Evans decision. So, you know.
No, but we just, I think that we were both just out front with it.
I take that as a personal affront.
Well, no, we were aligned. I understand where from a energy angle, Connor. I get where you're coming.
You didn't hear me cast a dissenting vote against one of the greatest wide receivers of the 21st century. I feel like there's some meat on that bone still.
There is. It's such a strong position in the take wars. Like Nick Wright is an expert at this, where he will box you into a position where you have to say that LeBron James is a bad basketball player, and he like forces you into this wall that you then brick yourself into, and it's just it's an art form, and I'm trying it out. I'm trying it out a little bit.
Good.
Connor is growing before our eyes, Dan.
Absolutely. The post TNC Conor Orr. Of course, we were going to use the rest of our cap space on Brandon Aubrey. He is currently attached to the Cowboys or the RFA tender. The unknown Aussie rules punter, we're just going to throw him literally Australian pennies. Not even an American currency upgrade if there's a plus for them. Whatever is more powerful in terms of currency, we give him the opposite.
The lesser, yeah.
Probably ours right now.
We might give him Bavarian pennies.
But it could be Bavarian currency.
And Don Mulbach is still out there. So.
Donnie Mulbach, baby. I think he's actually
Donnie football.
He's like 50. Hold on. How old is Don Mulbach right now? He is.
I think he died of natural causes at age 98 in 1997.
He's 44. Oh, he's a coach.
No, shoot. Well, that doesn't mean he get. Well, look at damn Phil Rivers. That could happen.
Special assistant to the team president of the Lions, Donnie Mulbach.
And let me point out, because I see Michael J. Wake here chiming in, thinks he's a smart guy with his arms crossed in his profile pic. Dan's Njoku pick has not been snapped up yet, whereas Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler, both taken already.
Thank you, Michael.
First of all, go F yourself. Second of all, like so many of my spot-on takes that bear fruit later on in the calendar year, you will come around to see that Njoku, if he signs with the right team and is in the right offense, will be a Pro Bowl star. And it's going to stick to the ribs of the old Cess dog.
Well, no, I believe I picked Isaiah Likely. I believe I rose his name up. So man with folded hands that came at you in the comments kind of aligned with him too.
And if there's anything I know, anybody that comes off the board in free agency at day one is a guaranteed great signing.
The folded hands thing, by the way, is that's like the move. When I took my senior picture in high school, you look at where the camera is, and then you force basically the fat of your arms downward with that pose to make it look like you have sailor-like forearms.
Oh yeah,
So,
the Popeye.
Oh, you got to
arms.
do
Yeah,
that. No,
I don't know.
that's a.
By the way, this just gave me a great idea. We'll not share the profits with whoever came up with this image of the Bavarian Pretzels jersey. That has to be on our next merch drop, Bavarian Pretzels.
Don't tell Connor, but I saw this comment from Benjamin Evans. Please release a Bavarian Pretzels jersey. I opened up Grok. I typed in, please generate me an image of a fictional football team jersey, Bavarian Pretzels, and it did it. It's pretty good. It's pretty.
I mean,
sorry,
it's
Connor.
great producing by you, but like also,
Nefarious.
yeah.
It's not like not a team human
Right.
move by Justin, his own profession will be under assault from the AI overlords before he knows it.
I like how everyone was like, wow, that looks great. This commenter, Barris Plants, I would buy that. And then I reveal how it was created, and it's like, oh, now it sucks. Now I wouldn't buy it. It's like, okay.
Hey, perchance, Mr. Cinephile, have you seen the films Terminator or T2: Judgment Day?
You know it. You know I have, baby. All of them, even T3, which was the worst sci-fi movie ever created.
He knows the words to them.
I know all the lyrics to T2.
All right, so the Pretzels are largely have been eaten by other teams, but a few out there, and we'll continue to track it. Kyler Murray is our QB1 for the Bavarian Pretzels. Here's the latest on Murray. Of course, he's been widely connected with the Minnesota Vikings. Murray will visit the Vikings today. It might have already happened by now. His agent, Eric Burkhardt. We've heard less from agents this year. Remember last year where maybe I'm wrong, but maybe last year I feel like we hit the fever pitch where we could not get an update from one of the insiders without the agent's big fat name being in the tweet of the signing. Is there been less of that, or is that just a thing I'm putting out there? I don't know.
I think you're just more immune to it.
Okay,
It felt very prevalent to me, to the point where I think it was like Joe Cardona or some sort of long snapper, and the agent got his name tag in there, and it's like, man, that's like a 3% cut on like a $800,000 deal, which is still nice, but like we don't need to tap dance all over everything, you know?
Yeah.
I think when you got Deshaun Watson and his agent out of the mix, that cleared a certain name drop that went on forever. But also now, even this week, we're learning that Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport are going to be meshed together within the same bubble in the same company. So some of this favor producing towards agents is probably less valuable. You're on the same team already. It's a bit of a mess.
Well, you know,
I'm not saying that
we
will
work
go
in
away.
that. We worked in that industry, and most of those guys that work under the same umbrella operate as fierce rivals, even if they're supposed to be friends or podcasters or whatever.
No, I don't
So,
think they like each other.
I don't think Schefter and Ian are all of a sudden going to be like deferring scoops to each other.
Well, I mean, I would not to go down too far down the road, but like even at NFL Network, it's like, I am also sharing this scoop with this reporter and this reporter and this reporter. And it's like 4 people announce the same breaking news. It feels like a bit of a circus, but
Mark, tell us more about your 56K modem that you're operating during this live stream.
am I having tech issues that I don't know about?
Do you want to try to do a refresh and come right back in?
I will. I'm plugged in. I will come back.
Boot up that Gateway 95.
You've got mail. All right, let's talk a little Kyler Murray while Mark. I don't know what's going on with our tech issues. We had El Gato attacking Sheil on yesterday's show, and now Mark went fuzzy on us. Hopefully that will be the end of it after, half of the fixes in our industry is just reboot the machine. Kyler Murray, like I said, visiting the Vikings today. This one was a little bit interesting to me. Pelissero, the Pellraiser himself, Murray plans to meet by Zoom on Wednesday night and Thursday with executives from 3 to 5 teams, then potentially have a quarterback need in 2027. Pellraiser. Florio speculated these teams could include the Jets, Steelers, Browns, Falcons, and Rams. Okay, so here's a little pushback that I have on this one. Why? Why the meet? Welcome back, Mark. It doesn't look better, but we're gonna push through. Because the Vikings are a great landing spot for Kyler Murray for so many reasons. He has a direct path to a starting job. He's playing with a true QB whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. He gets to play in a dome. There's Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in football, is on this team. It's a great fan base and a great vibe around the Vikings. You stay in the NFC. There's so many things that are positive about this. Why not just sign with the Vikings and focus on resurrecting your career this year and then go and meet with these other teams next year? It seems like a little bit of a superfluous step. It's not a big deal either, but it did catch my attention as a little bit strange.
Well, I think with the Rams in particular, it's valuable because Cliff Kingsbury is there, and maybe you want to get on a whiteboard with Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury together in anticipation of Stafford retiring at the end of this year. I think that's important because Kyler, say what you will about him, but he's gone through the ringer in terms of bad NFL franchise to play for, arguably the worst run franchise in the NFL. And so everything from here on out is about getting yourself maybe one more bite at the apple, another Daniel Jones type contract. And so it's just a process. So I think based on everything, more players should do this, and we would have less issues like we did with Maxx Crosby, even though it was a little bit different.
Well, and if there was a narrative out there about Kyler Murray, it's that he's not super plugged in to the dense film watching and the preparation and the all life football approach. So I kind of like to see him do this and see his team do this. I was just looking around at when they say there's 3 or 4 teams he's talking to, there really are only about 3 or 4 teams that would make sense for him to talk to tops. I wonder if it's even that many, but I don't have a problem with the homework before making a big decision. But the Vikings are the best place to go to reclaim your career and to grow.
Yeah, that's why I'm not making a big deal out of it. But I just feel like sometimes best not to overthink things. This is a great spot for him to reset. And the more I think about it, and I'm not a Kyler Murray fan necessarily, but when you look at his age, his prior output, he has the injury history, but not the type of injuries necessarily that make me think he can't reclaim the athletic prowess or show that prowess off again in a different setting. And in general, where he was at a graveyard of the NFL, which has been the Arizona Cardinals that are not run well. And for Kevin O'Connell, Mike Silver wrote a column for The Athletic that I read this morning where he positioned it out. This is a big risk and KOC showing big balls because he could take more safe swings at the position and all that is I guess, but that doesn't necessarily make it to me more courageous or whatever. Kyler Murray is the best option out there by far if you think you can take a quarterback whose value has been degraded and maybe turn him into a star again. So get these two together and let's pop the hood and see what happens. And enough of I was going to say pussyfooting around, but I don't like that phrase. So
no, you avoided that.
Just move on. Yeah.
You avoided that. Well done.
Definitely.
Good work.
All right. Okay, so we'll track the Kyler situation. Before we take our first break, let's each share an under-the-radar signing through the first 3+ days of free agency. Connor, you get us going.
All right. Feel free to do something else for the next minute because I'm going to talk about fullback play, baby.
Yes.
So I like that the Chargers signed Alec Ingold alongside Charlie Kolar, who I projected to the Chargers, by the way, on in my SI pre-free agency column, and then Patrick Ricard to the Giants. And here's why I like both of these things. In the absence of great offensive line play, you need great ancillary blocking pieces. And whether that's tight ends who can block or hybrid H-back fullbacks that can block, you're just doing things in service of your offensive line that again, there's not a lot of great tackles or guards out there. So this is the next best thing. And the thing I like about Ricard specifically is that Ricard and Isaiah Likely, who the Giants both signed, are uniquely skilled at playing with mobile quarterbacks, and they can get into space and they can be an outlet pass. They're used to Lamar Jackson being creative. Jackson Dart was one of the highest EPA per run quarterbacks in the NFL last year. So I think these are great matches. Same with Herbert and Alec Ingold and Kohler. I just think that those are fantastic signings.
And they're going to reunite with coaches who know who they are.
Yes.
And you got to love Project Pat, who Mark Ingram tagged that way, and was quietly like a total X factor for the Ravens, I thought, and is a very useful. There's only like 3 or 4 of these guys in the league. And Ingold is on the fringe of being one of those guys too. So I see where you're going there. I like that.
I'll follow that because we must really like what's cooking with the Chargers. Are national media figures getting sucked in by a Chargers team again going into a new season? I really, really like the fit of Keaton Mitchell to the Chargers. I think he's a great compliment to Amari Hampton. He's still obviously going to be the sled dog there. I think Hampton could be, a first-round fantasy type producer this year in that offense. And in Mitchell, you have a home run hitter. Obviously, you saw it. There were injuries that dotted his Ravens tenure, but that guy is a thrilling player to watch when he can make a guy miss and get to the second level. And he goes to a Mike McDaniel offense as a secondary back. And I just think adding that home run hitter to the Chargers, if he can stay healthy, it's a big if, and that's a main reason I think why the Ravens no longer employ him, because they got tired of waiting for him to be healthy. But if Mitchell, who got a 2-year, $9.3 million deal with the Chargers, he could really add a dimension to this offense. And may I also mention that if there was a running back in the league that compares to him favorably, or there's an apples to apples comparison here, it's Devon Achane, who Mike McDaniel left in Miami and was one of the best running backs in the league last year. So I wouldn't freak out if I'm Omari Hampton, like Dynasty League owner or anything. I think Mitchell is going to have a role on this team, not be a sled dog, but he is going to be an impact player, and I can't wait to watch him play. I just hope he stays healthy.
I totally dig that too, and I think the Chargers needed to add some weapons. I'm going to go with a guy that I think is not really anyone's breakout candidate from last year, or will it be this year? We'll see. But Tyquan Thornton staying with the Chiefs. 2 years, $11 million. Very affordable. He's incredibly fast. He averaged 23 plus yards per reception a year ago. If you go and look what he did early on in the year when they really needed him to step up, over the course of between week 1 and week 5, 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. And was really the only answer for Patrick Mahomes deep down the field. And I just want to see him grow in this offense. I watched him on an interview this week, and like he kind of impressed me with his devotion to changing and growing as a player. So for the Chiefs, who whether or not they get Tyreek Hill, I think they won't. You got to keep growing wide receivers, and there's going to be some questions on offense there. They'll be more balanced, but I like him in that Chiefs offense.
I guess. I think
I know it's not the answer that's going to come blow
is he their
people
third
away.
Wide receiver on that team? Like, where does he slot in? They have Rashee
I think
Rice.
he's a starting wide receiver right now on the outside.
I'm just talking like kind of in target share. Xavier Worthy, Thornton. You have Kelsey back. I'm not saying it's not an exciting guy. I think one of the things that I've been on record on this, I don't like that he wears number 80. It feels very antiquated. I feel like I would like Tyquan Thornton more if he was like 19 or 5. Like, is that?
Wait, aren't you on record being annoyed with people wearing like 5'2" though? So
no, I'm back. I'm in now. If I was on record, I have shifted on that. Now I feel like he looks like a relic from 1999. And whenever Patrick Mahomes would target him downfield, and it'd be like, oh, almost the reception to Thornton as he like crumpled to the ground with a number 80 jersey, I'd be like, well, of course he's not going to catch it. He's a pro.
Well, if I
man.
lost my argument based on the number he wears,
there's no argument.
I really can't. I can't counter that.
I just want him to change his number. That's all, and then I'm on board.
In Sessy's defense, that's an excellent APY for a wide receiver. Wide receivers were going for, I think worse wide receivers were going for more. And that yards per reception number, that was the main reason we were so excited about Alec Pierce re-signing with the Colts. And it was very similar. So I don't know. I think that was a good job by Mark.
I mean, Mark doesn't need
See how that
a
played
pat on
out?
the back and a pat on the head. Like,
Oh, I need the pat on the back and the head. So like,
I just thought it's like I can't.
I didn't bury it. I just offered my own analysis that I think he should change his number. And then Connor's like, yeah, but Mark did great on this.
Connor knows what he's doing.
I thought Mark did great too.
I missed you guys. I was near you yesterday. I felt like I was gonna hug you in person, and I'm just trying to bring a little bit of warmth. I need that touch. So
yeah, I wish we could have gotten together. You had like an overnight stay, and
it was a quick stay.
It was very quick.
You were farther away from. I think people say I'm coming to Los Angeles. You were farther away from us than one might realize when you just say you're going to a city, which unfortunately tangled the reunion.
That was like during the Super Bowl. Like, I'm famously terrible at geography, and Super Bowl was in San Francisco this year. And I was like, what do you guys think? I'll like rent a car and just pop down and we'll do like a couple shows. And someone was like, that's like an 8.5 hour drive.
It's like there's so many airports you could have flown into in Los Angeles, and you picked the one that was like geographically a nightmare for us. But, what are you going to do? Yeah. In the comments here, JPSHU, Thornton is a good wide receiver 2 or 3, but that's his ceiling. Connor, jump in. Mark's under attack again.
I'd like to see JPNHU's high school tape. Why don't you fly that in the comments, smartass?
All right, let's take a break. And we'll do some more football talk. Stay right there.
When you bring a child into the world, your perspective shifts overnight. Suddenly, I'm not just thinking about today. I'm thinking about kindergarten drop-offs, first cars, college tours, all the milestones I can't wait to see. And part of loving my family means planning for their future, even in the uncomfortable ways. That's why I chose life insurance through Ethos.
What really stood out to me was how fast and simple it was. With Ethos, everything is 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in as little as 10 minutes, and potentially get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions right from your laptop or phone. Coverage options go up to $3 million, and some policies start as low as $30 per month.
Yep, it gave me real peace of mind knowing I could protect my family without adding more stress to our busy life. And it's not just me. Thousands of families trust Ethos. They have a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot from over 3,000 reviews.
Plus, as of March 2025, Business Insider named them the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider.
If you've been putting it off, this is your sign. It only takes a few minutes to help protect the people who matter the most.
Protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote in minutes at ethos.com/HTC. That's ethos.com/HTC, ethos.com/HTC. Application times and rates may vary. You know, Mark, I don't know what it is about certain seasons, but every year without fail, the bugs show up. For us, it's ants in the kitchen. Gotta deal with that. Mosquitoes, spiders in the corners of the basement. And once I see one, I can't unsee it. I start checking every wall before bed. It's brutal.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And let me tell you, it's not exactly restful. I have enough trouble sleeping already, as you know. I don't need to be worrying about pests on top of it.
That's right. So we looked into professional pest control, but the quotes were hundreds of dollars, plus scheduling appointments and having someone in the house, which nobody wants. That's why I was really intrigued by Pesty. It's a customized do-it-yourself pest control kit. They ship you pro-grade pesticide, the same kind the professionals use, along with a sprayer, mixing bag, gloves, and clear instructions. It honestly takes less than 10 minutes to mix and get started, and I love that it's tailored to my specific location, climate, and the bugs common in my area.
Absolutely, Dan. Pesty handles over 100 types of bugs, from ants and spiders to roaches and scorpions. It's kid and pet friendly when used as directed. It's fully registered, and it's even used in hospitals and schools. Plans start at just $35 per treatment, and it comes with 100% bug-free guarantee or your money back.
Mark, this is great for your dungeon. Bugs hate to see you coming with Pesty. Go to pesty.com/HTC for an extra 10% off your order. That's PESTIE.com/HTC for an extra 10% off.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Heyo, welcome back. A reminder, if you don't have your Heed the Call official merch yet, the exclusive merchandise hut of Heed the Call can be found at heedthecallpodcast.com. And Mark, I'll say it again. We are in the midst of a design of Series 2, like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy with Calvin Klein. So the merch that you see here could be gone momentarily. Carolyn, what do you think about that?
The Bessette parallel is on brand. Heedthecallpodcast.com, and yeah, we're in the factory right now. We're creating new merch, new ideas. And some of this will go away. So it's your chance now to grab it. And there's even there's a very special shirt out there, not the Bavarian Pretzels, that includes Conor and Conor's vehicle on it too. And like, it is a bestseller, and you've got to go grab that unless you are mental.
It is quite literally the best seller in the collection, Conor. And just a reminder that it got to the final design stage before it reached the printer, before I flagged that your actual license plate was on the shirt. So I guess I would say I'm waiting for my gift from you for that, but actually you did buy me a book for Christmas, so we're all even, Steven.
Good. Yeah. It would have been really funny if this shirt came out and then like a stalker came to my house.
Can you imagine what your wife would think of our show if we sold like 800 shirts with your license plate on it, and then a bunch of Mark David Chapman started rolling through Central Jersey? All right, let's get back to it. Hey, have you guys heard of the most accurate indicator of a team's direction in the sport? The analysis comes via Kevin Cole and what he calls his improvement index. And in the improvement index, the top 3 teams. Look at the Cleveland Browns, number 1. Look at the New York Jets, number 2. Look at the Tennessee Titans, number 3, which is to point out anyone who gets on our ace about us talking about 3 teams that, quote, don't matter. Maybe you're, quote, not paying attention.
I'd like to make a point about these sorts of things, if we could.
Is it in support of the 3 teams that I just referenced, or is it going to negate what we just
Hell no. It is not in support of that at all. This is like the same interface that we see every year that, again, if you go back to 2020, Ryan Fitzpatrick is one of the best ranked quarterbacks by some of these metrics and some of these analytics aficionados of the last quarter century. Tua Tagovailoa is another one. I'm just saying, what does this even mean? Can someone pop the hood on this and explain to me what this means? Like, what did computer man put in the computer to get this to come out and look like this?
This is firing Conor up. Well, I was gonna say I was gonna say that. Okay,
I don't like that.
I was gonna say the last thing you should ever say in the show is I don't like it. I was going to say, when I heard about this, my first thought was, well, obviously 3 of the most dog shit teams in the league are going to improve the most through free agency signings because they're at the bottom, and there's anything for the most part is going to be perceived as a big upgrade, no matter what your, I don't even know what points-based improvement in NFL plus minus based on offseason roster moves and draft value. I still don't know what that means. But yeah, you have to, for instance, look at who's below the Titans, the Rams. Okay, now that's a good sign. So that's a Rams team that was the second best team in football. And according to this index, if you want to put anything into it, I will. Conor will not. They went from a team that very nearly beat the Super Bowl champion to now adding significantly to their roster and their secondary, to be specific, and they've gotten even better. So the Browns, Jets, Titans, yeah, no shit, they got better. They couldn't get much worse. The Rams getting better, that is notable to me.
The Browns thing is, to me, we started this exercise, like we talked about yesterday, you had no offensive line. And you just simply signed enough human beings to create an offensive line. That just seems like it's a notation of activity. Are they improved? The idea that they top this list, to me,
it's a good point. I'm trying to think like what would be their, what would be the moves that would. But again, the roster was so poor before. Like on the flip side of this, the Colts are at the very bottom of this index, and I'm trying to think what would make that the case. Like what has made the Colts a lot worse.
I think what we're failing to calculate is the draft value piece of this. And so the Colts lost the pick in the Sauce Gardner trade. The Jets have a lot of equity. The Browns have additional equity thanks to the Travis Hunter deal. So I think
very
that's a
good.
Yeah.
Good call. GC there by Connor. So the Colts don't have a first round pick in either of the next 2 years. So that's going to affect them adversely in this. Anyway, just want to throw it out there. Just, Mark, if anything, just a positivity. We're trying to be optimistic.
I love Connor's role in this show today of just coming to the rescue of multiple under fire analysts and individuals.
The Mother Teresa type. Let's check back in on the melodrama around the Ravens and Raiders after the Ravens, quote, backed out of their mega trade that would have brought Maxx Crosby to town. Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens. I don't know if this was previously scheduled or the Ravens decided he needed to get out front. And if it is, Connor, you're shaking your head yes. Good job. I'll give them credit for that. They're not hiding on this. They probably thought we can hide on this. We need because we're getting slandered in the national media and on the Heed the Call podcast. But they did come out and speak. And here is some of DeCosta's comments. And let me just say they're framed, and I understand he's trying to push his own narrative here as if some type of great tragedy befell the organization and they're just trying to pick up the pieces.
I mean, I understand it. You know, I understand it. We live in that age of skepticism and people question, especially people that don't really know me or know the Ravens culture and the Ravens organization. Again, I understand how people might, maybe from afar, would feel that way. But nobody's more upset about this than me. Gutted by it, actually. And so a big regret for me. But we will move on as a football team, and I think there's many opportunities for us to grow as a team, to become a better team, to build a roster, and to be the team that we want to be.
Man, how did Eric DeCosta even get out of bed after the setbacks that have befallen his team? I have to give him credit.
It's really savvy, I think, beyond the rest of it that I could critique. Just to go, let's blame culture out of the gate. If we just want to talk about the way that our culture is right now, then it kind of like absolves you of the details. Because the details probably have less to do with our culture.
If people don't understand the Ravens and what I'm about, then of course they'd be negative. And now that I've made these statements, obviously I've been vindicated.
I mean, if he wants to point out specifically what about our culture makes us angry and distrustful and resentful, then I'm all on board. Let's talk about that, Eric DeCosta. But I want to back him for a second because I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. I've had like 12 hours on an airplane to basically meditate on this moment in the NFL. And I think I've come through the other side completely and am kind of banging the Raiders for not locking this thing up before they went and spent all their money. And you know, this is one of those things where I understand that Maxx Crosby had a planned celebration for his sobriety, which is very important, which delayed the physical ultimately. But a lot of these moves, especially something that big, that guy is on a plane immediately to that other place to solve the biggest piece of the puzzle. And what the Raiders essentially did was they basically like went on TurboTax and they looked up their refund and they were like, oh, cool, I'm getting like a $10,000 refund. I'm going to go spend $10,000. And then they go to an actual tax professional and find out that they owe $10,000. Well, that's your fault. Like you never cemented the deal. You never sent in the taxes. You never dotted your I's and crossed your T's. And I don't know, like, how did we turned Tom Brady into a sympathetic figure in all this. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair too. That's fair too. He, for the record, DeCosta said that the Crosby deal, quote, hasn't stopped my phone from ringing. He said that he has a good relationship with agents, GMs. I believe that. People that try to spin it into,
I do too.
The Ravens are going to be, cancerous and no one's going to want to deal with. That's not how the business works. But it also, there was a lot of reporting out there because there was a predictably pushback on with our audience about how we came hard after the Ravens yesterday, that the Ravens actually didn't do anything wrong and all this. But there's a lot of reporting in the industry from rivals and people that are plugged into the league way more than us or you, the viewer, listener, that said, yeah, it's pretty obvious what happened here. Now, as far as the Raider side of it goes, let's start with a Maxx Crosby tweet, because one thing that has changed between yesterday's show and today's show floated the idea, well, maybe Maxx Crosby goes back to the Raiders, and Sheil and Mark and I were like, well, that seems very unlikely. But guess what? Here is Maxx Crosby's tweet. When was it? Yesterday. Everything happens for a reason. Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. I'm a Raider. I'm back. Run that shit. And then a gif of the Undertaker coming out of a flaming coffin. So he will be on the Raiders unless Connor, take me through this. You are somebody that knows the industry inside and out. Is this the Raiders trying to put a little toothpaste back in the tube, making it seem like they're totally cool and Maxx Crosby is cool, and they're trying to, regain some leverage that they lost through this? Do you think there's any way that Maxx Crosby still gets traded?
I think so, but they backstop themselves well by hiring Maxx Crosby's literal favorite person to be their defensive coordinator. I think, and that was a move that was made at the time when they were probably anticipating that he was going to come back, or at least that they were going to try to talk him into coming back. The issue now is that I think that his value is potentially torpedoed to the point where every team's got in-house analytics, right, that tell them what a player is worth versus what he's going to be able to give to them. My guess is that Crosby is now more valuable to the Raiders than he is as a trade, because if you're the Ravens and you're saying that this guy's knee condition is a ticking time bomb, nobody's going to offer multiple first-round picks for him anymore.
Well, and wouldn't you also, if you're John Spytek, the different GM than the Ravens side of things, you can't go get half the value days after all of this. And wouldn't it be fair for other teams? I think we all understand that the Ravens might have pushed the medical side of it in a certain way to push a message about why they did what they did. But do you want to see Maxx Crosby play meaningful football games before you sell the farm for him days after that trade went south? Does it happen closer to the deadline or something than it would then?
I read this as Crosby and the Raiders are working together toward a shared goal still. And the Raiders can still possess some leverage in the offseason here if it makes it seem like Crosby's happy to be with the Raiders and is ready to roll forward. And if that doesn't happen, like Connor said, I agree with you. If it's reached a point where he doesn't have the value that makes it make sense because he's one of the best defensive players in the league, keep him on the team. Hope he stays healthy. He then gets to bet on himself in that I'm sure he thinks he's healthy. He was pissed he got shut down at the end of the regular season when they were the worst team in football. And then come October 31st, November 2nd, whenever the trade deadline is, if everything is going in the right direction, you pull the trigger then, and maybe you get those first-round picks back. It's certainly possible. We saw the Colts give up 2 in the middle of the season to the Jets. So, I still think Crosby's long-term home is not the Raiders. I think this is a patch to handle a catastrophe on the personnel side that wasn't the Raiders' fault, and we see where it goes from there. But I certainly, from my side, don't preclude a trade still happening before the draft. But we'll see.
I will say one thing: we are not in the practice of handing out huge kudos to players in general. They're great, but I think Maxx Crosby, a different player might have handled all this differently than Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby has handled this about as well as you could ask anyone to. I mean, it's a little humiliating to be what would be the centerpiece of free agency, and then to have your health and everything questioned, and you get sent back to a place that, even with the Raiders, he didn't come out like Myles Garrett did, who you guys, he's on your radar. Myles Garrett went to Super Bowl week, going from place to place saying, I don't want to be on the Browns, then just took the Browns' money. Maxx Crosby has done none of that and handled this really well. And so, like, if you're the Raiders, it's like, this is someone we still could maybe make this work with, but someone else can make it work down the road. But like, I just say the player himself has shown who he is as a person.
I agree with that. But I also think it's in his best business interest to handle it the way he's handled it as well. If he's
right, but how many players don't handle anything well?
Oh, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's handled it the right way. But like when he sends that tweet and says, like, I love it here, I'm a Raider, I think that is actually in service of getting him out of Las Vegas still. That's my personal feeling. I don't think he woke up this morning or took a nap yesterday after this shit happened and was like, okay, now I like being on the Raiders again. There's a business compartment to this that I'm cool with, and you're right. Like, he could have been super annoying at Radio Row or whatever, and he wasn't, and we respect that.
One thing I think that's interesting to think about right now and where we are, because I don't think this is done, knowing NFL general managers, that there's one more big anonymously sourced bomb that's going to come in this. Do the Raiders end up on the hook for the quality of the medical information that they initially were horse trading with the Ravens before this deal got done? And does Crosby's health become something of a microscope issue throughout the season? I mean, this is a meniscus repair versus a trim is a very different thing. It's it's bizarre, and it's a little bit odd in the NFL for a player of Crosby's age to be getting a full meniscus repair. So is this one of those things that middle of the season, we anonymously get this long read from Wickersham or something like that that's like, dude, the Raiders sold us a bag of rotten onions, and that's BS. I don't know. Just saying.
I'm no Dr. Chow, but I believe I read that the meniscus trim is a faster recovery, but can also lead to more long-term effects down the line, whereas why?
I think that was some Dr. Chow humor is what the applause was for.
Or was that some sausage fingers in the?
No, that was, I mean, if I was faster, it would have come right after you saying, I'm no Dr. Chow, but alas.
Whereas a full meniscus repair is a bigger surgery, more involved surgery, but gives you a better long-term prognosis. But I guess also, are you kind of pointing at Conor that that's a serious surgery, and if it necessitated that, maybe he really is? I don't like to use the term, but I will. Not pussyfooting, but damaged goods.
I love by not saying it, you've said it twice now, which is like the best.
Pussy willow, Dottie.
I've just heard mixed. I think based on some conversations I've had, the repair thing is way more nuanced than what's being presented right now. And I think eyebrows were raised when that was the elected path for him back in January. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know.
All right,
I think that's to your point, Conor, that ultimately we'll look back on the Ravens and say, you did what was best for your football team, and you got a relatively equal pass rusher and save your draft picks, and you don't just have to accept the deal if the medical was a mess, right? Even though yesterday the Ravens have been billed as villains, and I get it. It seems like bad business, but like if they were surprised by what they found medically, like,
well,
you
can I have some
that.
actual evidence of that before we swing off the Ravens suck angle? Like, I'd love to see, like, if that's the truth, then I don't know. Let's love to see some reporting out there, like, that backs up that the Ravens actually had medical records that showed they had to get out of this trade. Like, and until I see that or that's out there, I'm going to assume the opposite, which is what a lot of the league and insiders believe and people inside the game believe, that they got cold feet. Like, we don't have to let them off the hook just because they said otherwise. Like, we are allowed to not have to suspend disbelief.
I don't think I'd be the first person in America to be letting the Ravens off the hook for anything. So I'm with you on that.
I know, and I'm just making sure we're not positioning ourselves as now going in the other direction.
No, I think it's
we
just
don't
a
have
story.
any new evidence to dispel our initial diagnosis of the situation.
I agree. I think it's just a story where like there's a lot of like information to be provided before we know what our final
Connor,
conclusion
put a
is.
bow on it.
To be clear, I am moving into the I want to be in camp Ravens here. I am moving in the other direction. And the reason why I say that is because isn't it so indicative of this is a very NFL thing that happened, right? Where something big happens and then an avalanche of steam goes towards the Ravens are so bad. And then the Ravens have to take their medicine and then the return serve, and this is always classic Belichick, right, is months later, right? And it's months later, and then it evens out the perception of things. But they know in that moment, by leaking sensitive medical data, they're looking even worse, right? So I think it comes out later. I think we find out something we didn't know. And I want to be the first one, hello, everybody, buying very cheap property on Ravens Island. Yeah, let's go. They're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing. All right.
All right. I like that. You're getting in early.
There's no one else here.
That Eric DeCosta likes his skincare routine too. I see it. He's a little shiny.
All right, let's take a break, and when we get back, we wrap things up.
Mom, Dad, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole New Year's resolution thing, kind of slipping, no offense. Anyway, my best friend Jenny's dad, crushing it. He uses Blue Apron. He says he ordered 1-pan assemble and bake meals and these things called meal kits. They're all super easy to make. He keeps yelling, protein and fiber, baby. Also, the food, we tried it. So good. So maybe check it out or whatever. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Welcome back. Big news in Tinseltown. Got the Oscars right around the corner, but who gives a shit about the silver screen? We like those small TVs, and that's where you can watch Doc. And you're going to be able to watch Doc again this fall because, according to Deadline, Doc renewed for season 3 by Fox with another 22-episode order. Ladies and gentlemen, we officially have a hit that might be as big as the one that Doc took on the side of her own window. that tipped off this whole mess that she's been dealing with in her personal life and professional.
It's an incredible assumption by you at the top of the read there that the viewer has watched any episode of Doc, but we want to hope.
What do you mean? What season 3, Ceci? You can no longer deny that Doc has an audience.
I would say the scope of it is sort of Lawrence of Arabia-esque at this point. So I'm on your side.
I got another big thing for you, Connor. Blair Underwood. Ever heard of him? Joining the cast for season 3.
Hello. Listen.
Oh, and there she goes. Smash hit. The smash hit.
Super slow.
Smash hit. Doc, season 3. A smash hit.
Here's why I'm so excited about this. Oh, hello,
look at Blair.
Blair.
Oh, that is a beautiful man. Aging Mike.
Yeah, it's a win for both sides.
Something that ages well.
Doc survives by jumping the shark so aggressively that the only avenue for season 3 is to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. And so I think they're going to do it. And that's what really excites me about Doc.
I thought you said the only thing to save it now is hiring Blair Underwood.
It's two-pronged.
If people have been following this, it started out as a somewhat grounded medical drama about a woman who suffers a terrible accident and it leads to extensive memory loss. And
which I loved.
Yeah,
It was a
great premise.
Yeah.
Great hook for a show. And when she comes out of this elongated coma, not dissimilar to Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal, the film that came out 30 years earlier, when she comes out of this coma, her husband is married to someone else. She's not trusted in the hospital any longer on account of her brain damage. And now she's picking up the pieces. But then all of a sudden, season 2, we're on the bubble for getting canceled. and we got people getting thrown out of windows. We got terrorist attacks. We had that who was that weirdo that he was the guy that was launching some type of malware attack. I think I said that right. What else happened? It would be fair to say it
spun out of control. When I want to pitch a show, I want to walk into a Hollywood office and say, not dissimilar to Hard to Kill. And see how that goes. But
Mason Storm, baby. So anyway, season 3, we'll see if they continue, as Conor is alluding to get more and more fantastical, or maybe if they now that they feel comfortable, they could ground themselves. And by the way, last statement on this. You know, I'm married to someone that's in the industry. You know, you get through season 3, we're starting to inch closer to that 100 episodes, and we're getting closer to syndication and setting up everybody at Doc for a long time. So we're rooting for everyone over on the Doc set. You have fans and heed the call, even if only one of us has watched 2.5 episodes.
That's right.
Update on the Bavarian Pretzels jersey, much better. Now it looks more like a pretzel.
Is that the women's fit, or what is that?
That's a nice looking jersey right there. It is. Is it not attractive?
That's what everyone wore at Justin's batch party, male and female.
There we go.
Correct.
In other news, Trent McDuffie is a Los Angeles Ram, one of the most improved teams in the league, including according to the Cole Improvement Index. And there was this message that McDuffie received upon the trade to the Rams. Nate Atkins had this on Blue Sky. Trent McDuffie said one Rams player called him screaming at the top of his lungs when the trade went through. Wait for it. Puka Nacua. Literally the most insane man alive. If you could guess one person, Conor, who's just going to call you on the phone and just start screaming, it's like a 75% chance it's Puka Nacua.
I have spent the majority of this show coddling Mark, but let's bring it full circle and say it's a great job by you, Dan. You've taken a lot of heat for this, but this is yet another breadcrumb in your basket. So
Puka Nacua is slowly unraveling
yes.
As a human being. Yes, yeah. I did get ahead of that one. Thank you.
He had some high octane date the other night, I believe, too. I think, Dan, you were prescient in that one. You were ahead of the curve. How did he? I think if you're a certain player and suddenly someone's giving you all the other players your phone number, maybe don't give Puka Nacua my phone number. I don't know how everyone has everyone's phone number in the NFL, but it's don't call me. I don't want to hear it. I'll see you in
Mark,
June.
it's a fraternity. It's a brotherhood.
Right. Yeah, that's how it works.
All these guys, they're friends now. In the old days, they hated each other's guts. And now they give each other their phone numbers. All right, Mark, easy.
I mean, I wasn't traveling up that hill per se, but just it seems like it would be annoying at times.
All these thugs out there now. It's all right,
relax. Give me one more scream, Justin. Let's see. Did you guys see Adam Schefter's studio during coverage of free agency?
Yeah.
Can you fly that up?
As for Brian Thomas,
holy shit, it's the set of InfoWars.
Whose idea was this?
Alex
There's
Jones.
a power strip in the shot.
Social media circles, floated out there. And again, for whatever reason, it doesn't go away.
What?
But
Connor nailed it. You nailed the set, Connor.
It's InfoWars. I know this is asking Justin to do an awful lot right now, but someone please pull up the set of InfoWars. It is identical to that. It's
so for the audio audience, the background, it's a neon United States map, continental US. With all the logos of the teams in the States and where they play, which is a little strange. And then another box to the right of that with video highlights. And then, Schefter sitting at an IKEA table. There's the InfoWars set.
That's exactly the InfoWars set.
I mean, the InfoWars set at least has a glass table. I mean, there's a sheen of professional. There's no power strip in the shot. Let's go back to Schefter's.
Oh.
Yeah, what?
His is, I will say, it was on
the Thunderdome,
on the McAfee set, right? And there was this their set is next to a basketball court, and they had this little side room with folding doors, and that's where they stuck this and Schefter.
Oh, he's on the set of the McAfee show?
He was near them, I believe, or right near them, but like behind folding doors or something. It was an odd setup.
Okay. Well, that gives me a little context. I had missed that programming this week, so I was unaware.
What is in front of him? Is he like an architect drawing out a blueprint sketch? Like, what is going on the table?
Just a lot of blank space. And then it's like, oh, there's his iPhone charger and I guess an iPad charger or a backup. I don't know. Can't get over it. All right, let's check in with the live chat audience. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. Day 4, this is our final day of free agency coverage. We will be back tomorrow if and only if something huge happens, but we'll be there if it goes down. Also a reminder, the Friday Fun Show will roll out over on Patreon. So you do get 5 days straight of HTC content if that is your desire. All right, let's check in, Justin, with the chat. Susie Blacker first. Here's a football question for you. What are the Broncos doing? A genuine question. We have solely brought back our people from the previous roster, including our mediocre tight ends. What are they doing? The only thing I'll say, I'll throw it to you guys on this, but the only thing I'll say is there's a reason why today's show is not the show that most podcasts are doing by the 4th day of free agency, which is winners and losers. It's like, I really think you need to have patience and let these teams have the runway to build out their offseason. And yes, that's both the opening of free agency, but then the second and third wave of free agency, and of course the draft. So like, the Broncos are coming off a fantastic season. They like their roster, I would assume, so they're not making a big splash, but they still have a lot of time to supplement the roster. Just because they didn't pull off a Los Angeles Rams like mega deal doesn't mean the Broncos are asleep at the switch. Connor, your thoughts? Or Mark, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say they have a full complement of draft picks plus 2 extra compensatory picks. Some of the better free agents get signed in the next couple of weeks. You don't have to go through this like dog and pony show and overpay. And I mean, they've got arguably the richest owner in the league potentially. So it's not a money thing or they're a mom and pop shop. I would zero panic. Although I have a couple of Broncos friends who are equally agitated. So is this Susie? I feel bad for you. Don't want to agitate Susie. That's what I'd say, Connor.
Did you say you feel bad for Broncos fans?
I say I understand why they're agitated, and I say you don't want to agitate Susie. I would never.
Oh well,
go
Susie,
down that
I
road.
would not mess with Susie.
No,
I would not.
That would be my move.
Connor.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to comment on the fact that someone said your hair's looking tight, which it is, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I do need a haircut, but Robert Wagner, like the famous Robert Wagner, you look like a handsome man with your sunglasses taken at a wedding where you were. Having a good time, I guess, at the reception. All right, what else we got out there? Romaine Rees. Hey, HTC family. Hey, Dan, I started watching Mad Men. Thanks. Ah, yes. Mark, I haven't given you an update in a while. I did complete
I need
my
to.
Mad Men.
I need to hear where you're. What's the newest?
I completed my Mad Men rewatch. It's probably the 5th time I've watched the show in full. It did jump out to me that the last 3 seasons become a little more uneven, like most shows. But that initial run in the first 3 or 4 years, I believe it to be, outside of maybe The Sopranos, which I always give the edge in these conversations, the greatest television ever.
I would say
highly recommend it. And they just put it on HBO. It had been kind of disappeared. It was on like the AMC streaming platform for years and years, and it kind of just disappeared. Now, if you have access to HBO or someone's password, you could watch it, and I highly, highly recommend it.
I think we've talked about this, but the last couple of episodes of Mad Men and what happens to Don Draper and just the journey is really hard to forget. Like it's incredible television. So I'm with you that it fades a bit, or we kind of get it, but then it picks up at the very end for me.
I think it just does such a beautiful job. It's set, if you don't know the show, it's set in New York City when Madison Avenue was like the most, not prestigious, but kind of the job that everyone wanted to have. You worked for an ad agency and it was like the height of cool, and the working conditions are pretty loose and fun, and drinking and partying were part of the job. But there was also a lot of institutional sexism and racism, and the show does such a great job of painting the picture, both of that moment in time in that industry and in New York City, and then also like the country as a whole. I cannot recommend it more. All right. Chris, the scroll at the bottom of the Schefter clip being about Mama Kelsey's renovation causes me physical pain. I miss that. I miss that. But I don't know. Maybe I don't want to get too down on the McAfee show at all, because they traffic in some of this irreverent fun and not taking things too seriously that we like to do on Heed the Call. And I've been on the McAfee show. They were always cool to me. So like, I'm not against the Pat McAfee show. I just hadn't seen it this week. I am
very certain he was there, but it was definitely like they had a bunch of people on set in Indy as part of it. And I think it was just an adjacent room to the larger set.
Mark Harrison, Mark, thank you for underlining that. Mark Harrison, 98. What other things do the Niners need to do in the offseason to close the gap in the NFC West? Well, Mike Evans, I like the Mike Evans quote that came out this week, Mark, or I guess today it came out, that he views himself as the final piece. I'm always, whenever I hear that, it feels like the kiss of death whenever a team adds a decorated veteran as, quote, the final piece. It almost never works out that way. But at the same time, a healthy 49ers team with a healthy Mike Evans essentially replacing Brandon Ayuk, like there's a lot to like there.
I mean, isn't that it? Just, can we get a Niners team that doesn't lose like a collective 112 starts by their best players? Like, then you're right there with the Rams and Seahawks in the NFC. That's it for me. I love the addition of Evans.
One more thing, Connor, like the Christian McCaffrey, have we already seen the best of CMC? And Trent Williams, we don't know what his future is with the team at this point. Like, there is that one thing I'll just, did the window where they were the best version of this core, is that window closed, and now they're just furiously trying to keep open something? I think it's fair to ask. I'll just throw that out there.
Sure. I mean, we need to presume health, but like we talked about during the Evans signing, Evans is about taking defenders out of the box for Christian McCaffrey. It's about Evans drawing a safety and a double team so that fewer guys are in there for McCaffrey. But the question, what the root of the question was, what else do the 49ers need to do? It's interior defensive line help. It's supplementing the pass rush, and it's getting another Bosa brother in there. Like, that's honestly what I think they need to do, is to team them up together. And they need depth at they need depth at off-ball linebacker. Like, they need that. I mean, they need defensive help in a lot of different areas there. So I think that's really what's on the bingo card for them coming up.
Juwan Jennings is still out there as a free agent, so they are likely losing him. Also out there, Deebo Samuel's a free agent. I don't know if there's any chance of a reunion there. And
I was wondering if Deebo would ever be a Chargers target with Mike McDaniel being in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and just one more name, Dre Greenlaw, the linebacker who tore his Achilles in Super Bowl 58 on the Broncos last year. He is back on the open market. I wonder if there are any reunions possible out there for the Niners as well. I want to head over to the subreddit. This is not an episode of It Came From the Subreddit, but I saw this one, a little Photoshop here. Mark, you shared your story about your time in the desert with a woman inside a Volkswagen minivan. And here's a photo of you with the woman in the background. Mark Cullen, I once lived with a woman in a VW van in the AZ desert.
We were moving from Boulder, Colorado to LA, where I was planning to take up screenwriting, and the car just broke down in Arizona, and I was there for over a year. And the look of her in this photo is accurate to it's a microcosm of what was occurring in general. The whole thing was increasingly messy. So I can wax on for as long as you'd like about it, but it was a troubling time, and I learned from it.
Whoa, breaking news. Breaking news. Rap Sheet with the report. This is crazy. The 49ers are signing back one of their former stars, agreeing to terms with linebacker Dre Greenlaw.
Hey!
Sources say the former San Francisco draft pick spent last season with the Broncos now returns on a 1-year, $7.5 million deal. How about that?
On fire.
You guys asked for a 49ers update, predicted a roster move seconds before it went live. What else can you want from this program?
Nice job.
I wonder if Raheem Morris being back there helped move that along a little bit.
Maybe, baby. Maybe. All right. Anything else that we need to hit before we go? Mark?
Justin, I think you had one more item for us. This came in.
Oh, this came in.
And if you want to read this.
Okay. I think you should read it.
Well, it's a tweet from literally, it's a tweet from the president.
From the president. Yes, it's use your focal inflection because it's very similar at times. Go ahead.
He says, let's be honest, Conor Orr, we tend to like him, right? He recently visited California, major sports story, front of the magazine. Some people don't read mags now. I read them all. Nobody knows what Conor did at night. Oswald, one of 4 hitmen. UFOs coming out of Antarctica. Out.
Wow, he is spilling all the
7,000 retweets, Conor.
A little bit low, actually, for the president.
I love the Jets. Do you want to know what I did? Because it was just the best.
What were you
ever.
doing in your 24-hour sojourn to the Golden State?
So after I knocked out the interview, it was great. The kid showed up on time. He was awesome, and more to come on that. But then I took a little 20-minute cab ride down to Newport Beach and ate at my favorite restaurant, True Food Kitchen, which is like a chain restaurant. And I had some flourless chocolate cake and read Salem's Lot by Stephen King at a table by myself for an hour and a half. And it was unbelievable. It was just like
Wonderful.
The best night. Yeah.
You deserve that.
Thank you.
You deserve that. I thought Trump only uses Truth Social to send out his missives to society.
Apparently not.
Wow, unbelievable. All right. ACB 5904, he would spell Conor with double N's. He certainly would.
No doubt.
That's fair.
All right, there you go. That's it for today's live stream. Thank you to everyone who has followed the show all week, risking their jobs in many cases. And those of you that are unemployed, just keep hammering that monster.com. Refresh. You got our back. We're pulling for you. Mark, now you've had 4 shows now to get this right. I'm giving you enough runway to give us something and then take it back to me so I could get us out.
It's so important when utilizing monster.com to think about the search terms that you use, how you plug yourself into it, get magnified, get a job, get work, get a mate, have children, live and die, Dan.
There you go. The journey of life is a long one. Remember what you must do. Heed the call.
Monster Energy. Everybody knows White Monster Zero Ultra. That's the OG. It kicked off this whole zero sugar energy drink thing. But Ultra is a whole lineup now. You've got Strawberry Dreams, Blue Hawaiian, Sunrise, and Vice Guava. And they all bring the Monster Energy punch. So if you've been living in the white can, branch out. Ultra's got a flavor for every vibe. And every single one is zero sugar. Tap the banner to learn more.
Shot clocks, big shots, upsets, aces. TGL playoffs are here. First, Atlanta Drive starts their repeat run against Los Angeles Golf Club. Then, Rory's Boston Common Golf and Tiger's Jupiter Links face off in their playoff debuts. Who will advance? Keep up. It's playoffs. Tune in Tuesday, March 17th at 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. only on ESPN and the ESPN app.